The UK operates a parliamentary democracy, which means that the people elect members of parliament who represents them and makes decisions on their behalf. The UK government is headed by a prime minister who is appointed by the monarch, who is usually the leader of the political party that has the most seats in parliament. The prime minister is responsible for appointing ministers who are responsible for running government departments and implementing policy. The UK government is divided into three branches: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. The executive branch is responsible for implementing policy and is headed by the Prime Minister and his cabinet. The legislative branch is responsible for making laws and is made up of the House of Commons and the House of Lords. The judiciary branch is responsible for interpreting and enforcing laws and is made up of the courts and the judges who preside over them. The UK operates within a hierarchical structure, with the Prime Minister at the top, followed by the cabinet and then the various government departments. The civil service is made up of government employees who are responsible for implementing policy and operates within the hierarchical structure. The UK is also a constitutional monarchy, which means that while the monarch holds a symbolic role as the head of state, they do not hold any real political power. Instead, the monarch's role is primary ceremonial. They act as representatives to both the UK domestically and internationally. The House of Commons and the House of Lords are the two chambers of the UK Parliament, which is responsible for making laws and holding government to account. The House of Commons is made up of 650 elected officials, members of Parliament, who are elected by the people of the UK in general elections, which are held every 5 years. The number of MPs representing each political party is determined by the number of votes they receive in the election. The party that wins the most seats forms the government. The House of Lords, on the other hand, are not elected members. These members are appointed by the monarch on advice of the Prime Minister. The House of Lords is made of approximately 800 members, including life peers, who are people appointed for life, hereditary peers, people who inherit their titles, and the bishops of the Church of England. The House of Commons has more power than the House of Lords, as it is directly elected by the people and is responsible for initiating most of the legislation. However, the House of Lords still play an important role in the legislative process, can oppose amendments to bills passed by the House of Commons, and can delay and block their passage into law. Overall, the UK political system is complex, with multiple layers of government and a hierarchical structure. While the UK has evolved over time, the principles of parliamentary democracy and our constitutional monarchy remain the core of our political system. How did the political system I've just discussed now come to be? How did we evolve over the century? And what were some of the main points, the main turning points in our UK history? The political system of the UK is one of the oldest and most influential in the world. From the early kingdoms and tribes and tribal societies of the British Isles to the modern parliamentary democracies and constitutional monarchy of today. The evolution of the UK's political system has been shaped by centuries of complex historical, social, and cultural factors. We will explore the fascinating story of how the UK political system evolved from its earliest beginning to what we have today. We will delve into the various historical events, institutions, and figures that have contributed to the development of the system we have today, including the Norman Conquest, the Tudor dynasty, the Glorious Revolution, and the emergence of the modern political party. By examining the key turning points and enduring themes that have shaped the UK political landscape, we will gain a deeper understanding into our country's unique political heritage, as well as its influence on Western civilization as a whole. From the Magna Carta to Brexit, I hope to offer you a rich and varied perspective on one of the most fascinating political systems in the world. Whether you are a history buff, a political junkie, or simply curious about the origins of the UK political system, this podcast is sure to provide compelling and informative exploration into the critical aspects of Western civilization. So join me through the UK political history. So to start off, we need to go through some historical background. The history of the United Kingdom is complex and fascinating, a tapestry that spans thousands of years. From its earliest beginnings as a land of diverse tribes and kingdoms to the modern day parliamentary democracy and constitutional monarchy, the UK has undergone significant political, social, and cultural changes throughout our long and storied history. As we explore the early history of the UK, including its geography, its tribes and kingdom, as well as the impact of the Roman Empire and the emergence of England during the Anglo-Saxon period. Geographically, the UK is comprised of 4 district regions: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Each of these regions have their own unique geography, history, and culture. The country's diverse landscape, including rolling hills, rugged coastlines, and fertile valleys, provided a range of resources and habitats for its inhabitants. From the prehistoric people that first settled in the region to the modern-day citizens of the United Kingdom, the country's geography played a vital role in shaping its history and its identity. The early history of the UK is characterized by a diverse array of tribes and kingdoms that existed throughout the region. These tribes were the Picts in Scotland, the Britons in Wales, and the Anglo-Saxons in England, among many others. These tribes were often at odds with each other, engaging in battles, power struggles for control of resources and territories. The Roman Empire had a significant impact on the early history of the UK, as it conquered much of the region during the 1st century AD. The Romans established several important settlements and cities throughout the UK, including Londinium, which is now London, Colonia Victricensis, which is Colchester, the Eboracum, which is York, among others. These settlements served as important centers of trade, commerce, and culture, and helped integrate the region into the wider Roman Empire. The Anglo-Saxon period marked a significant turning point in the history of the UK, as several Anglo-Saxon kingdoms emerged in the region. These kingdoms were characterized by their own unique culture and political identities, and were often in conflict with one another. However, in the 10th century, the Kingdom of England had emerged the dominant power in the region. With the unification of the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms under the rule of King Alfred the Great, during this period, England emerged as a powerful and influential kingdom with a distinct cultural and political identity. The emergence of England was characterized by the fusion of Anglo-Saxon and Viking cultures, as well as the development of a strong and centralized monarchy. This period also saw the emergence of cultural and literal figures, such as the poet Beowulf and the epic poem of the same name, which has become an enduring symbol of English literature and culture. The history of the UK is a rich and complex tapestry that has been shaped by centuries of diverse tribes, kingdoms, and cultures. From the impact of the Roman Empire on the region to the emergence of England during the Anglo-Saxon period, the history of the UK is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of its people. Understanding the early history of the UK is crucial to gaining a deeper appreciation of the country's unique identity and legacy, and its enduring impact on Western civilization. But we didn't stop there. In 1066 embarked the Norman conquest and the feudal system. The Norman conquest of 1066 marked a pivotal moment in the history of the United Kingdom, leading to significant challenges in the political and social landscape of the country. In this section, we're going to explore the events leading to the Norman conquest and the concept of the feudal system and its impacts on the UK, and the role of the Magna Carta in shaping the political system of the country. The events leading to the Norman conquest were marked by political and military instability. Following the death of King Edward the Confessor in 1066, several claimants to the throne emerged, including Harold Godwinson, the Earl of Wessex, William, Duke of Normanby. Harold was ultimately crowned king, but William refused to recognize his claim, leading to the Norman invasion of England. The Norman conquest brought significant changes to the political and social landscape, including the introduction of the feudal system. The feudal system is a hierarchical system of land ownership and loyalty, in which kings granted land and titles to nobles in exchange for their loyalty and military service. This system created a complex web of social and political relationships, with power and influence concentrated in the hands of a small number of nobles and aristocrats. The feudal system had a significant impact on the political system of the UK, and it led to the emergence of a centralized monarch and a strong aristocracy. The king became the ultimate authority of the land, with the power to grant and revoke land and title, and the nobles became powerful landowners, controlling vast estates and resources. The system also created a complex network of relationships between the king and his subjects, with obligations of loyalty, military service, and tribute. The Magna Carta, signed by King John in 1215, is widely regarded as one of the most important legal documents in the history of the United Kingdom. The Magna Carta was a charter of rights and liberty, which placed limits on the power of the king and protected the rights of the nobles and citizens. The Magna Carta was significant in shaping the political system in the UK, as it marked a shift away from absolute monarchy towards constitutional government. The Magna Carta also had important implications for the development of a democracy and the rule of law in the UK. It established the principle that even the king was subject to the law, and that the rights of citizens could not be arbitrarily taken away. The principle would later be enshrined in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution of the United Kingdom, and would become a cornerstone of democratic government around the world. The events leading to the Norman conquest, and the feudal system, and the Magna Carta all played significant roles in shaping political system. Feudal system created a complex web of social and political relationships, and the Magna Carta marked a shift towards a constitutional government and the rule of law. Understanding these events and how they impacted the UK is crucial to gaining a deeper appreciation for the country's unique political heritage and its enduring impact on Western civilization. But then came the Tudor dynasty and the Reformation. The Tudor dynasty, which reigned over England from 1485 to 1603, was a crucial period in the country's history. It was a time of significant change and transformation in many areas of society, including politics and religion. In this section, we're going to explore the impact of the Tudor dynasty on the political system and how the religious changes of the Reformation affected the country. The Tudor dynasty was founded by Henry VII, who succeeded in ending the War of the Roses and established a stable monarchy. His son, Henry VIII, is perhaps the most famous of the Tudor monarchy due to his role in the Reformation. Henry VIII's break from the Roman Catholic Church and the establishment of the Church of England had significant and religious ramifications. One of the most significant political impacts of the Tudor dynasty was the centralization of power in the monarch. The Tudor monarchs reduced the power of the nobility, centralized government administration, and established a more professional civil service. This constitutional power contributed to a more stable and effective political system, which was able to deal more effectively with the external threats and internal dissent. The Tudor dynasty established a system of absolute monarchy, where the monarch was the ultimate authority over all matters. This system allowed the monarch to make decisions quickly and effectively, which was necessary in the tumultuous period of the Reformation. The religious changes of the Reformation had significant implications on the political system. The Reformation was a movement that sought to reform the Catholic Church, which is seen as corrupt and in need of a change. Prior to the Tudors, government administration was largely conducted by a small number of aristocrats who held high-ranking positions of government. These positions were often hereditary and based on personal connections rather than merit or qualification. Under the Tudor monarch, there was growing recognition that government administration required professional skills and expertise. The Tudors established a more formal system of government administration, with positions based on merit and qualifications rather than personal connection. They created government departments such as the Privy Council and the Court of Star Chamber, which were responsible for overseeing different areas of government activity. These departments were staffed by the first professional bureaucrats who were selected based on their skills and expertise. One of the key figures in the development of the Tudor civil service was Sir Thomas Cromwell, and Cromwell was a key advisor to King Henry VIII and placed a crucial role in the reorganization of the government administration. He also established a system of regional commissioners who were responsible for implementing government policies at the local level. He also oversaw the creation of a new legal system which was based on common law and required professional judges. The Tudor civil service was a significant development in the history of government administration. It established the principles that government administration required professional skills and expertise rather than personal contact. The principle remains a core part of the modern civil service, which is still based on the principle of meritocracy. Later on, fast forwarding in time, we get to the English Civil War and the Glorious Revolution. The English Civil War took place in 1642 to 1651. It was a pivotal moment in the history of the United Kingdom. It was a time of significant political and social upheaval, which ultimately led to the development of a constitutional monarch. In this section, we're going to explore the events leading to the English Civil War and the impact on the Glorious Revolution on the political system and the development of the constitutional monarch. The English Civil War was a culmination of a long period of political and social tension in England. At its core, the conflict was a struggle for power between the monarch and the parliament. King Charles I, who had ascended to the throne in 1625, was determined to assert his authority over parliament and govern without their interference. However, parliament was equally determined to limit the power of the monarch and protect the rights of the people. Tensions between the king and parliament came to a head in 1642 when the king attempted to arrest 5 members of parliament for treason. This move proved unpopular with the public, which led to an outbreak of hostilities between royalists who supported the king and the parliamentarians who supported the parliament. The English Civil War was a brutal conflict which saw both sides engaged in acts of violence and repression. Ultimately, the parliamentarians emerged victorious and King Charles I was executed in 1649. This led to a period of political instability, with the country being ruled by a series of military dictators known as the Commonwealth. The Glorious Revolution of 1688 was a significant turning point in the political history of the UK. It was a peaceful revolution which saw the overthrow of King James II and the establishment of the constitutional monarch. The revolution was sparked by fears that King James II was seeking to re-establish Catholicism in England, which was deeply unpopular with the Protestant majority. The Glorious Revolution had a significant impact on the political system as it helped establish the principle of parliamentary sovereignty, which means that Parliament is the ultimate source of authority in the country, and also led to the development to a system of constitutional monarchy, where the monarch's power is limited by law and convention. The development of constitutional monarchy was a gradual process that had been underway for centuries. However, the Glorious Revolution marked a significant step towards the establishment of a system of government where power was shared between the monarch and Parliament. This system of government has endured to present day, with the UK being a constitutional monarchy with a parliamentary system of government. The events leading to the English Civil War, marked by a series of conflicts between King Charles I and Parliament. The king was determined to govern without Parliament's interference, while Parliament sought to limit the king's powers to protect the rights of the people. Tensions between the two sides reached breaking point in 1642 when the king attempted to arrest 5 members of parliament for treason. So I've provided a historical overview of the UK political system, from its early tribes and kingdoms to the development of the constitutional monarchy. We have explored significant events in history such as the Roman Empire's impact on the UK, the Norman Conquest, the Tudor dynasty, the English Civil War, and the Glorious Revolution. Throughout this journey, we've also discussed the developments of key institutions and concepts that have shaped the political system, such as the feudal system, the Magna Carta, parliamentary system, and the formation of the civil service. The significance of the political system of the United Kingdom cannot be overstated. It has had a profound impact on Western civilization, influencing other political systems and institutions around the world. The UK system of constitutional monarchy and parliamentary democracy has served as a model for many other countries, and its principles of democracy, rule of law, and individual rights have become fundamental values of Western societies. Understanding the evolution of the political system in the UK is crucial to understanding the history and development of Western civilization and the impact it has on the world today.